Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to part 48 of the GTO Trainer. First hand here, we have 6-3 offsuit on the button. This is going to be an easy snap fold. We will, as you can see, open pretty much majority of hands all the way down to like a Jack 4 suited, and then 9 offsuit for a lot of our hands, apart from King, which goes down to 8, even a little bit of 7. And then only ace offsuit that we're not opening is ace deuce. Next hand here, got some offsuit garbage, easy snap fold from the low jack. Next hand folds around to us in the cutoff. We've got ace king offsuit. This is going to be an easy open. Get 3-bet by the button. Button's going to be 3-betting the most out of any position, especially up against a cutoff open. So this is going to be a pretty wide range here from the button. My understanding. So I know I'm pretty certain. I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty certain this is a jam with ace king off here. The theory being we're wanting to just deny equity from a lot of hands, but I think that's more against a early position because we want to try to get them off a flip, like for example queens, jacks, 10s, 9s, maybe 9s bottom of range. And then potentially get them off a chop if they also have ace king. So I think that's a theory up against an earlier position open, because they're going to have far more wedded towards those hands, whereas the button's going to be 3-betting a little bit wider. They're going to add in some more, what's it called, suited broadways. They're going to be 3-betting a lot. All their pocket pairs are 3-betting. Actually, no, probably not all of them, but the strong ones, they're probably going to be 3-betting with some suited aces in there as well. So they're going to be 3-betting pretty wide. So therefore, I reckon we move with just a standard 4-bet, as in a 4-bet to a smaller sizing rather than the all-in, and then they jam. So what hands are they jamming here? You know, they're jamming aces, kings, queens, most likely. Not jacks. Jacks would probably just flat. In this situation, all their suited ace-x and suited broadways would be flatting here, or even folding at a decent frequency, probably a little bit more weighted towards a flat, considering that this is a 4-bet coming from the cutoff, so a little bit wider. Because the button itself is wider, we can also be 4-betting a little bit wider as well. So I reckon this is going to be a fold from first glance. Because I don't really see where, like, best case scenario, we're flipping up against queens, jacks. But would jacks take this? Probably not, so really only queens. And then we're looking at a chop with ace-king as well. But that's mostly about it. So I reckon this is going to be an easy fold. And they're saying no. Okay. So they just say a call. What hands are we calling with here? So we're calling with 10s. Okay, 10s, jacks, queens. Hang on, let's have a look. Does it not show? Here we are. So yeah, if we look at the buttons range here, I don't know why 7s and 6s are there. You know, we're looking at jacks, queens, kings, ace, king, aces, ace, king off. So when, in my personal opinion, when that's the buttons range here, okay, I don't see why we're called, like, ace king off is absolute bottom of range, and we're essentially praying that they've got ace king and we're going to chop, or they've got queens and jacks, or maybe even this, like, low suited ace, where, you know, in these situations, we're about 70-30 favorite, but then, you know, 50-50 up against queens and jacks, and then chopping against ace king, but then we're pretty much virtually dead. Well, actually, correction, we got, 30% equity against kings, and then virtually dead against aces, because we need running kings, or a straight, or a flush, something like that. Especially even less, considering that we have the offsuit variation. But something I'm going to start after this hand as well. But yeah, so in my personal opinion, I would probably fold that. I know that we need to, like, GTO is all about, you know, being balanced. But in my personal opinion, I don't think that EV's there realistically if we're looking at the hands that they have, because we're only really winning 50% of the time. And I don't think that's a positive EV on our hand, and I reckon there's far more more profitable situations that we should be putting our money in, rather than this one where best case scenario we're flipping, or even some little combos we might be a 70-30 favorite, but then majority, like what they're realistically doing this with, you know, I just don't really think we play well up against it. But yeah, what I'm gonna do, hang on, I'm gonna get it up on my other screen. But I recently watched a video from Hungry Horse Poker, who, countdown, hang on, who was talking about how you need to practice how you intend to play. Yeah, this works, I believe. So can we go like that? Yeah, I think this works. Well, I mean, we don't necessarily need that. So we'll go like that. That works. Cool. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay, and we're back. So yeah, as you can see on the left-hand side now, we have a stopwatch. We're going to give myself 30 seconds per hand to act, and then we can break down the actions afterwards. But yeah, we're going to start with the 30 seconds. Actually, here, we'll start with a minute. Actually, no, you'll go with 30. We'll go with 30. 30 seconds to pick my decision, and then after that, I can break it down later. But 30 seconds to pick the decision to start with. Okay, so next hand here, 9 offsuit garbage, easy snap fold. I got some suited garbage in the big button, easy snap fold, facing another gun open. Under the gun, easy snap fold with queen 4 offsuit. Once again, easy snap fold with the queen 9 offsuit up against an under the gun open. 10-7 offsuit garbage, and under the gun +1, easy snap fold. Got some suited garbage in the small blind, facing under the gun open, easy snap fold. Next hand here, got some offsuit garbage versus a low jack open, easy snap fold. Next hand here, got some offsuit garbage facing an under the gun open, easy snap fold. Okay, pocket threes in the low jack. I believe this is going to be a fold. Have a look here. So yeah, so at a very, very low frequency, you know, balance it out a little bit, but we're only really going like 7s and above. Low pocket pairs. I normally would prefer a low pocket pair if we're talking more about like big blind closing the action, or if there's enough money in there in the middle already to give us really good pot odds to go set mining, and we have the potential to win a really big hand. Like, for example, ideal situation is, you know, under the gun open, then we're in the big blind closing the action, and we just get to call and complete, or defend, however you want to put it. And then, you know, then we're able to set mine there pretty profitably. And that's kind of like my ideal to play these low pocket pairs, because there's not really much else apart from set mining, in my opinion, you know. Unless you're truly prepared to, you know, if you really think they're, you know, full of shit and you really want to go all the way down to the river in terms of bluff catching, and you're prepared to do that, then, you know, they've got some value there. But aside from that, like, especially pocket threes, even pocket fours, pocket fives, pocket sixes, you're going to see minimum, like, 5, 4, 3 cards over them. So you're never going to have, like, top pair, you're never going to have an overpair of them. You're never going to have, like, second pair in a lot of situations as well. And then even third or fourth pair. So, like, a pure bluff catcher, there's no flush draws, there's no real, like, post-flop potential. You kind of only hit, like, your set, and that's about it. So you want there to be enough pot odds there for it to be mathematically profitable for you to actually set mine in that situation, rather than just kind of going at it with poor odds, and then you're probably not going to be profitable in the long run doing it. So anyways, next hand here, button opens. We're in the big blind with pocket fives. This is going to be an easy complete. We're going to, on a queen 8-4 rainbow board, this is going to be an easy check. Just try to see what we're saying with the buttons range here. So they go about half pot. We're going to elect to, so the button, not really going to connect with this at all. There's no real flush draws out there. They have some 8x, they have some queen x, for example, because they did open, but they're going to be opening pretty much any two, so I'd like to call here. Play one more street. Jack of hearts brings in a backdoor hearts draw. Jacks, they could still have potentially, so they probably don't have any like real strong queen x, because they would probably want to check back and keep us in. So we're going to once again just check and flow, not really expecting them to come up here with many. They could potentially have a flush draw that they just picked up with some extra equity. When they check again, we're going to think that they don't have strong queen x, they don't have any jack x, don't have a hearts draw, because those would all be betting, and queen x would want to try and get some value. Pocket fives, way too thin to go for value. This is going to be an easy check, possibly a check call, and then they check it back. And then we end up losing to king jack. Surprising, king jack doesn't try to go for some value on the turn there. Would have thought a jack would have been betting at a little bit of a higher frequency, well, at a very high frequency. Given that I probably don't have a queen, I could potentially have picked up a flush draw, but that's about all I've got. So they gotta have to think that I've got, if I had a queen, I would probably bet on the turn. I would probably lead on the turn. I probably wouldn't bet my queen on the flop, but I would definitely bet my queen on the turn. So I'm surprised that they didn't bet their jack at all. I would have thought they would definitely bet their jack, considering that it's highly unlikely, especially that I have a decent enough queen. But maybe that could be their idea, that, I've got a weak queen that I don't want to bet. Something along those lines, potentially. So next hand here, under the gun with 8-7 of spades. Personally, I love these hands to open under the gun to balance out my range, give myself a little bit more board coverage on a load of low boards. So we get 3-bet by the cutoff. Cutoff's going to be 3-betting a little bit wider, not as wide as the button. However, they are still 3-betting the under the gun range. This is going to be a very strong range. 8-7, got a lot of post-flop playability, even though we are out of position. I do really like a call here. Flop comes Queen 10-9, 2 spades. We are open-ended straight flush draw. So much equity that I would love a bet here, love a lead. And then we get a call from under the gun. Under the gun here could have, some strong Queen X, for example, that they could be calling with. They could have some spade draws that they could be calling with, that they would 3-bet with. There is a lot of, and then you can't really put them on really strong Queen X, as that probably would have raised, given how wet and dynamic the board is. Jack gives us a straight, but potentially they could have some ace-king. So I kind of want to check here and see where we're at. We get the check back, ace on the river. Any king is now a straight, and they have a lot of king X in their range. King could have been calling on the flop, something like, king jack, king jack's actually a straight there. But yeah, I think now way too thin to go for value. Don't know what we're going to get called by, and he potentially could be losing to a king here. So we're going to check, possibly go and check call, and they check it back. So pre-flop, so I'm still happy with that raise. I really like that raise. I reckon it should be a little bit more than 5% personally. I understand that it definitely shouldn't be 100%, shouldn't be on a overly high consistent basis, but I definitely like it, mixing it in every so often, just to give yourself a little bit of board coverage on those low boards, so that just because you're opening under the gun, people can't fully discredit you from hitting those boards, such as that one just then. Just gives yourself a little bit more to play with, essentially, is what I'm getting at. And then, the call on afterwards, given the really good pot odds, given the playability of the hand, given that it plays really well up against the 3-betting range, even though it's a 3-bet from the cutoff, because let's have a look here. So as you can see, 3-bet from the cutoff, decent, very, very strong. So these, suited connectors play really, really well up against that strong, tight range. So if we keep on going, so yeah, the call there, good. Flop comes out. So I liked the lead here, given that we have a lot of equity that we do want to protect. Well, not even protect. We're happy with a call here, in all honesty, but we just have a lot of equity that we want to start getting in some money. And we want to go with that stand about 1/3 size. I do understand the checks, try to get them to stab at it, because they would most likely telegraph. But is it most likely to get stabbed at? Is my question. Like, is something gonna, like, obviously ace queen's gonna feel pretty vulnerable and want to have a stab at it. Well, not even a stab, but like stab for protection. Well, no, sorry, c-bet for protection. So I could definitely understand, like, you know, really strong queen x wanting to do that, and then we can kind of base it off there, or even like queen 10, for example. But then that's just getting a little bit too narrow down. We want to stay a little bit more of buckets of hand rather than specific hands. But yeah, I preferred the bet here, just trying to get in some money there with when we have so much equity up against pretty much all of their hands here that they could have. And then Jack on the gives us the straight. I like the check here. What's it called? So yeah, now, hang on, I'm gonna get it. So yeah, now we have a straight, but we have the low end of the straight with just the 8. And there's a one-liner out there, already a king's a straight. I didn't even see that. That's how confused I was with the time. I was so focused on trying to arrange them that I didn't even consider what I had. I thought I had like both 8-7 was a straight, but nah. I was thinking I had a 6-card straight, and then that was pretty good. But yeah, I like the check here. You know, we're trying, well, now even more so I like the check, given that it's a one-liner to a straight. We still have equity with a flush draw, so we're definitely calling the bets here, checking here to call. Definitely not going to fold unless they go with an egregious size that no longer gives us the mathematical reason to stick around with our flush draw, because especially given now it's a one-liner with a king, that they have a lot of king X here. I'm still surprised. Yeah, look, so they have plenty of king X, but still surprised that they wouldn't be c-betting. Maybe concerned of a check raise. I mean, I'm probably, well, not even concerned of a check raise, because I bet. Oh yeah, so I bet, so they didn't c-bet. Okay. So that kind of takes it out a little bit. That kind of changes my whole thought process. I'm pretty certain I had the thought process down that I checked, and then they checked back. But that was the turn. So yeah. I digress. So yeah, then they check back. And then, yeah, on the river here, way too thin to go for. Oh, dear Lord. What am I doing? What am I doing? Here we are. So yeah. And then on the river, way too thin to go for value, because what are we getting called by? You know, kings, one-liner to a straight with a king. Flush draw bricked. And that's like, all we really have is a bluff catcher. And we're pretty much bluff catching to say, hey, we don't think you have a king if we are trying to bluff catch there. Because they probably wouldn't come out and bet with 2 pair. At pretty much at all. Like 2 pair would probably check back here a great deal of the time. So yeah, so there's our, so how many hands did we do today? So 14 hands, 24 moves, 93% GTO score. The one blunder being folding that ace-king offsuit hand that I still stand by. A lot of just pre-flop folding rubbish hands. Happy with the 5s hand, where we just, you know, way too thin to go for value, had plenty of showdown, checking all the way. And then, kind of happy with the 8-7 hand, disappointed in the fact that I was so focused on the time that I lost track that there was already a 1-carded straight there before the ace. So definitely need to be considering that a little bit more within my you know, short time. We might increase it to a minute just to give myself a little bit more time just starting out, and then we might slowly decrease it from there. But you know, we'll see in the next video. So have a good one, guys. As always, play well, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.